A mysterious place, filled with numerous monsters and traps, has guarded a hidden treasure for 5,000 years that no one has been able to find. Since the young man left the ancient city of Jingju, his life has never been the same. For a whole month now, he's been having the same dream. In it, he sees the same place and the same sequence of events. The same girl appears to him. He follows her, and when they reach another tree, they approach each other. But suddenly, lightning strikes her shoulder, leaving a tattoo in the shape of an eye. Her mask falls off, and he sees that it's Shirley. She screams and begs for his help, but he can't do anything. She is engulfed by a viscous liquid, sinking deeper and deeper. Bayi wakes up abruptly from his dream, breathing heavily and looking around. Two young men enter a house accompanied by others. Inside, surrounded by people, their friend waits eagerly. They introduce themselves to Mr. Zhou, who invites them to sit and calls for Ling Long. A girl emerges from the adjacent room carrying an old pair of slippers on a tray. Wang Kaixuan gazes at them, entranced, reaching out, but a stern look from the girl stops him. Meanwhile, Mr. Zhou explains that selling finds from ancient tombs is forbidden, and violators must lose their fingers. With that, he orders his guards to begin the punishment. Bayi immediately intervenes. According to him, these embroidered shoes from the Qianlong era were found 3 years ago and have changed hands multiple times since. This makes them antiques, not burial items. Punishing them would only drive traitors away. The young men plead for their friend Dejin's release, promising he won't repeat the offense. But Mr. Zhou doesn't let them off easily. He proposes a deal. He asks them to retrieve an item from a deep tomb in the Qianling Yugumao Temple, located in the Qianling Mountains. Bayi interrupts, but Wang persuades him to accept the job. Then, Bayi asks what exactly they need to find. Mr. Zhou replies, the Longu Tianchu scripture. The three friends walk down the street, discussing the upcoming task. Bayi warns them of the dangers, mentioning that many true masters have failed. But Dejin mentions rumors of a map of mountain treasures, believing that possessing it would guide them to the celestial book. Bayi is skeptical about the map's existence. However, their friend persists, revealing that the map is located in the ghost market. In the evening, the friends head to one of the districts. The ghost market has been around for over 100 years. During the decline of the Qing dynasty, the dying children of the Eight Banners sold family heirlooms to survive. Street stalls operated from midnight until dawn, and over time, this market emerged. At midnight on the 7th day of each month, the ghostly stalls open when Yin replaces Yang, and it's rumored that someone can buy something there. The guys walk down a deserted dark street, but suddenly, right at midnight, lights start coming on in the houses. People come out onto the streets, and the place comes alive. A bit further, they enter one of the stalls, where they are greeted by a guy. He asks the reason for their visit, but unexpectedly, Bayi hears a female voice, and Shirley comes out to meet them. Upon learning why they've come, she agrees to give them the map, but only if they take her with them. The friends set off on their journey. They sail down the river on a small wooden boat, surrounded by low mountains on all sides. Wang sings a song at the bow of the ship. Shirley supports Dejin, who is clearly seasick. Meanwhile, a strange man, wrapped up in a jacket up to his eyes, silently observes everything. When the song ends, the people around ask for an encore. They really enjoyed the performance. At this time, the girl notices her compass acting strangely. The guy starts singing again, but the boat's owner interrupts him, asking not to make noise so as not to disturb the Iron Dragon King. The girl inquires who this king is, and the man explains that he is the god of this river. He has been here for hundreds of years, and no ship dares to make noise in these waters, fearing being sunk. However, Wang doesn't take his words seriously and loudly says that it's all just superstition, and if the king comes near them, he'll personally boil him in wine. But the girl is not so dismissive. She looks at the compass again and sees that it seems to have gone insane. Suddenly, something hits the boat, and people fall. Before they can recover, the boat shakes again. They immediately fall to their knees, begging the king to spare them. Bayi takes charge and orders the boat owner to take everyone to the cabin. The friends prepare their weapons, ready for the king's arrival. He doesn't keep them waiting long, striking the boat again, knocking Shirley overboard. She grabs the edge of the deck at the last moment. Bayi rushes to her aid, helping her back up, and sees a huge monster in the water. Moving to the bow of the boat, the friends await their opponent. Suddenly, a huge creature leaps out of the water. The monster resembles a crocodile but is much larger and has several rows of very sharp teeth. The impact throws the friends back, and the king climbs onto the boat halfway. The company engages in battle, but the creature's skin is too thick, and neither arrows nor swords pierce it. Managing to drive it back into the water, the friends nervously await the next attack. It doesn't take long. Having swum a great distance, the monster strikes the side of the boat, throwing them off again, and the king returns to the water. Realizing that they can't do anything, Bayi suggests catching him in a net. Hastily constructing large nets, they catch the monster as it jumps onto the deck, but the nets don't hold. At that moment, a strange man emerges from the cabin onto the deck and, using an electric shock, drives away the Iron Dragon King. Removing the hood covering his face, they are surprised to see that it's Professor Sun. Upon reaching the dock, the whole company goes to a noodle shop. The guys are very curious about what brought the professor here. He tells them that after returning from ancient Jingju, he studied the secret clan of the Ghost Cave, and clues led him to the Long Ling Scripture. Smiling, Shirley says that their paths have crossed again. But Bayi is not in the mood for jokes. He asks the archaeologist for his opinion on what happened. The man explains that the monster is an ancient sturgeon, many years old, and it's unlikely it ended up here by accident. After listening to him, the young man decides it's time to set out. However, Wang suggests not to rush. He wants to capture someone along the way. Joyfully smiling, Wang receives a slap. Ling Long is very angry. She waited for him all day. The guy tries to justify himself, as their boat got into trouble, and they nearly died. But Bayi interrupts him. He's displeased that he called her. Seeing such a reaction, the girl begins to persuade the others to take her along, and they agree. The whole company sets off on a long journey. Arriving at the location marked on the map as the entrance, the friends begin their search, but all they find is a very deep pit. After moving some planks aside, they try to see what's at the bottom, but it's too deep to see anything. Looking around, Shirley sees a temple at the very top of the mountain. Climbing to the top, the friends cautiously enter inside. Surrounding them are numerous statues and everything looks abandoned. Carefully examining everything around, Bayi finds a way to open a passage to the tomb at the bottom of the central altar. As soon as he turns the mechanism, the platform descends and turns into steps. Carefully descending, the friends find themselves in a room. At the end of it, they see iron doors with a protective mechanism that no one could open. After carefully examining the mechanism, the young man instructs the others to stand guard while he deals with the lock. After a series of clever manipulations, the door gives way and opens. And before the company's eyes is an incredible sight, a huge ice hall. Stepping carefully into it, they move forward, but the floor is made of pure smooth ice, and it's very difficult to stay on their feet. Breaking into pairs, they help each other, but Shirley and Bayi still fall and start sliding forward at high speed. Using a knife, the young man tries to stop, and he succeeds. Wang and Ling Long, who fell after them, catch up and also stop using the same knife. The professor asks them not to move, but along with Dejin, who also can't stand on his feet, he crashes into the others. The knife can't hold the weight of the whole company and pops out of the ice. They start sliding forward again, and Bayi notices ice spikes ahead. They are rushing towards them at a tremendous speed. Shirley tries to stop the slide with a pole, but the ice breaks. Then the young man makes another attempt to stop using the knife, and he succeeds. Seeing a small tunnel between the spikes, the girl pushes the others into it, and they pass through successfully. But suddenly the ice cracks, the knife falls into the water, and the two of them are inexorably approaching the spikes. Making a final effort, Bayi pushes the girl into the tunnel, while he waits for his death. But she is not going to leave him, and at the last moment, grabbing him by the backpack with a pole, she pulls him into the passage. Their swift and uncontrollable descent continues. After a while, the tunnel abruptly ends, and the whole company falls down and finds themselves in some kind of cave. Looking around, they find a bone, which appears to be human. Vang, amused, decides to scare Ling Long, who, frightened, starts screaming. Her scream echoes throughout the cave, waking up the terrifying creatures and attracting their attention. Continuing to explore the area, the friends find a lantern belonging to one of the guys. Looking up, they see the same hatch they discovered earlier. Meanwhile, a pack of wolves is getting closer. Examining the area under the hatch, they find a sacrificial altar and realize that this is the real entrance to the tomb. But before they can open it, the wolves get too close. Realizing that they can't avoid a fight, the guys prepare to battle. They manage to fend off the wolves for a while, but the odds are against them. Bayi orders them to climb up to the hatch using the hanging vines, but they break. However, the boards also fall, creating a circle of light around the friends. The wolves immediately scatter, apparently afraid of the sunlight. Assessing the situation, one of the guys suggests using a makeshift ladder to climb up. Tying a vine to a rope, they start climbing one by one. Bayi stays at the bottom, and just then, the sun goes behind a cloud, and the sunlight disappears. He bravely fights off the wolves, but there are too many. Suddenly, he sees flashes of sunlight. His friends have taken out mirrors to help him reach the rope. Using the mirrors to drive the creatures away, Bayi fights his way to the rope and climbs up to the others. Unable to believe they've escaped, crying tears of joy, they all hug each other. Returning to the city, Shirley tends to the guy's wounds. Being too close to each other, they both feel awkward, and Bayi, to distract himself, asks about the mark on her shoulder. She explains that it has always been there, an ancient curse. Suddenly, she notices the exact same tattoo appearing on the guy's shoulder. Gathering everyone in a cafe, she tells them everything she knows about the curse. During the war, her ancestors were forced to flee into the desert. There, they found a cave of ghosts and decided to explore it. For this, the cave cursed their entire lineage, and for millennia, no one has lived past 50. The inscription in Lungu is their only way to lift the curse. But seeing the monsters that stand in the way of this inscription, the girl realizes that it's all over. The others disagree, they want to try again to help her lift the curse. After devising a plan, the friends set out again. The treasure map indicates that the hottest sun will be at noon. Considering the distance and the diameter of the well, they will have only 30 minutes to open the entrance to the tomb. Getting ready for the descent, they are stopped by Djinn, who asks for a few minutes to transfer a bottle of good wine into a flask. Successfully descending into the cave with the wolves, the company opens a passage and descends into the tomb. Looking around, Bayi lights a special candle to invoke the ancient spirits. A small ball separates from the candle's flame. These are the river spirits responding, spreading out to fill the pattern on the floor and filling the lamps with a bluish light throughout the hall. Moving forward, Bayi steps on a hidden mechanism. The hall starts moving, and arrows fly at them from different sides. Successfully dodging all the arrows, they sigh in relief, but not for long. Shurikens come flying at them next. Barely avoiding death, the friends move forward. However, a new trial awaits them, giant grates with sharp teeth. Dodging these as well, the friends climb onto a platform. There stands a stone box, parts of it slide apart, and the inscription rises from it. Carefully taking it, they notice a strange rustling noise. Turning around, they see hordes of giant spiders approaching and the candle flickers out. Spreading out in different directions, they plan to escape using the lamps, jumping from one to another. However, Djinn hesitates, and the spiders attack him. Realizing that these creatures are hunting the inscription, they toss the backpack with it to each other. Reaching the exit, they climb up one by one. Shirley stays behind to hold off the creatures. When everyone has climbed up and she has run out of arrows, she rushes to the ladder, but the spiders ensnare her in webs, preventing her from climbing. Bayi can't leave the girl and returns to save her. The others also don't want to stand aside and join them. As soon as they do, the hatch closes, cutting off their retreat. Djinn decides to distract the spiders to allow the others to find shelter. One of the creatures grabs his flask and punctures it. Meanwhile, the friends find a side room and drag a grate there, closing the entrance. The creatures press against the barrier with all their weight, and it gives way under their pressure. Bayi, realizing that they won't hold out for long, sees spilled wine on the floor and remembers that the entire palace is covered with a layer of sulfur. He throws a lighter onto the puddle, and fire immediately ignites. It spreads with incredible speed, engulfing the floor, walls, and spiders. However, they are still cut off from the exit by the closed hatch. Mentally resigning themselves to their death, they join hands, but suddenly Shirley sees that her compass has gone crazy again. Remembering that it behaved the same way when the Iron King was nearby, the wall behind them trembles from a blow. They realize that there is water behind it. Taking a piece of the column from the main hall, they use it as a battering ram. On the other side, a terrifying monster helps them. Together, they break through. Water rushes in uncontrollably, filling the space, and the friends grab onto the columns. The hall begins to collapse, and the water level rises. Bayi, diving underwater, sees that through the breach, spiders, rocks, and remnants of the tomb are being swept away at high speed. Returning to the others, he informs them that there is an underground current and on the count of 3, they dive. After waiting for everyone to swim through the passage, the guy, turning around, notices that the king is catching up to them. Dashing forward, at the limit of his abilities, he doesn't make it. But at the last moment, when the creature's jaws are almost closing on his legs, the passage collapses, burying the monster beneath it. The whole company is traveling by train. Bayi and Shirley sit in the compartment, and the girl can't sleep. She confesses to the guy that Mr. Yao was a close friend of her father. He always wanted to help and free her family from the curse. Djinn was intentionally given those shoes. It was a plan to lure Bayi himself. To the girl's surprise, the guy doesn't react at all. So, he tells her that he understood everything back at the ghostly market because coincidences are not random. She feels very sorry for using him and asks for forgiveness, but he's not upset. This mark is an unjust evil that befell her family, and evil must be resisted. At that moment, the others join them, reassuring the girl that injustice must be resisted together. Throughout the night, the friends tried to cheer up Shirley, forgetting that they also suffered that night. Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.